What if Tatsumaki met Jesus? When the tornado of terror met the Prince of Peace? A lot of people watch our videos, but still aren't subscribed to the channel. This means YouTube won't notify you when new content is posted, and you might end up missing out on transformative stories like this one. Before we dive into this journey, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Turn on the notification bell so you don't miss anything. Leave your like, and share this with someone who needs to hear this message. Since she was little, Tatsumaki was a force of nature, trapped in a fragile body. She never had the luxury of a childhood. She never knew hugs or lullabies. Her earliest days were marked by fear, isolation, and experiments. The scientists who studied her didn't see a child, they saw an experiment. Her psychic power awakened early and frightened the adults. Whenever Tatsumaki tried to get close, she was pushed away. When she cried, no one listened. So she learned that power was all she had, and that the world only respects those who are the strongest. When she was freed by a hero, she didn't feel grateful. She felt anger. Why did it take so long? She wondered, if he was strong, why didn't he come sooner? She grew up certain that no one would ever come to save her again. So she took it upon herself to protect her sister Fubuki, and by extension, the entire world. But to protect them in her own way, cold, calculating, ruthless. Her heart became as hard as a psychic wall. They called her the tornado of terror, and with good reason. Tatsumaki could levitate entire cities, crush monsters with a thought, and paralyze enemies with a glance. But no one ever truly knew her. Behind the arrogance was a girl who was never allowed to be weak, never allowed to cry, never allowed to say, "I'm afraid." With every battle, she sought one thing: control. If she could keep everything under control, nothing bad would ever happen to Fubuki. If she was strong enough, she would never be abandoned again. But the truth was that, even as she defeated her enemies, she was losing inside, because the more power she accumulated, the emptier she felt. Who was she after all? A shield? A weapon? A heroine? Or just a grown-up child who never learned to trust anyone? The battle was over. Tatsumaki hovered above the wreckage of yet another village she had saved, but her body was trembling. Not from physical exhaustion, she was stronger than that, but from an emptiness that not even the most powerful attack could fill. The rain fell softly, and she simply floated there, motionless. Suddenly, something in her field of perception changed. Someone was there, but he wasn't a monster, nor a hero. She turned around. A man was walking toward her, barefoot, in a white robe, with deep eyes. But what caught her attention the most were his hands. Nail marks pierced through his palms. "Aren't you afraid of me?" Tatsumaki asked in an arrogant tone. "An emotional armor?" "No," he replied gently. "I have known you since you were in your mother's womb. I have seen your silent days. I have heard your hidden tears." She stepped back. "I don't need anyone. But you've always wanted to be embraced, haven't you?" Those words struck her mind like lightning. "Who are you?" she murmured, unable to look directly at him. And then he answered, "I am the Good Shepherd. The Good Shepherd lays down his life for the sheep." John chapter 10, verse 11. She fell to her knees, but not out of weakness. It was as if all the weight she had carried since childhood of loneliness, of responsibility, finally caught up with her. "Why? Why have you come now?" she asked, tears in her eyes. And he replied, "Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest." Matthew chapter 11, verse 28. Tatsumaki had never felt that kind of peace before. It was different from winning. It was different from being in control. It was like being embraced. Jesus approached, knelt before her, and looked into the eyes of that girl who had never known what it was to be loved. "I no longer call you servant. I call you friend." John chapter 15, verse 15. She began to cry. Real sobs, not the cries of battle, not the noise of destruction, just the weeping of a soul discovering that love does not have to be earned. Jesus touched her, and in that touch, she understood. She was strong, but she didn't have to be alone. Maybe you, like Tatsumaki, learned early on that being vulnerable is dangerous. Maybe your story is marked by abandonment, control, and masks of strength. Maybe you became good at defending yourself, but bad at trusting. You've already won so many battles, but the inner war still screams. You've helped so many people, but rarely felt care for yourself. Tatsumaki's story isn't just about a heroine who controls everything with her mind. It's about a girl who wanted to be protected and never could ask for help. And then came Jesus. He didn't come as a stronger warrior. He came as the God who weeps with us, as the one who says, "Let not your heart be troubled. You believe in God, believe also in me." John chapter 14 verse 1. You don't have to carry everything alone. You can let your guard down. You can let the wall fall. You can be strong and still be loved. Jesus is telling you now, "Behold, I stand at the door and knock. If anyone hears my voice and opens the door, I will come into him and dine with him." Revelation chapter 3 verse 20. He doesn't want to control you. He wants to walk with you. If this story touched your heart, don't leave in silence. Write in the comments, "I accept being embraced," or "I surrender my struggle." Turn on the bell to receive more messages like this. And remember, the playlist link is in the description. Listen to this video again before you go to sleep. Let this story keep healing you while you rest. This is the serene cry. Here, even the strongest can finally rest, and the hardest hearts can be touched by a pierced hand.